The cafe was one of the most elegant in the city, with tall glass windows, golden chandeliers, and soft music drifting through the air. Emily, dressed in her sister's borrowed dress, stepped inside nervously. Her family had convinced her to attend the blind date because her older sister, who was supposed to meet the mysterious man, had suddenly backed out. Emily had no interest in games of the wealthy, but her family's pressure had left her with no choice. She whispered to herself that she would only stay for a few minutes, make polite conversation, and then leave quietly. She had no idea that this decision would alter the course of her life. At a corner table sat a man who looked like he belonged on the cover of a business magazine. Tall, broad-shouldered, with piercing eyes that seemed to read everything, he was instantly recognizable: Alexander Knight, the young CEO of a powerful company, rumored to be ruthless in business but devoted as a father. He had agreed to this blind date reluctantly, pushed by well-meaning friends who thought he needed companionship after years of raising his son alone. When Emily approached, he immediately noticed her nervousness, but also something refreshingly genuine in her presence. She sat down cautiously, expecting judgment. Instead, he greeted her with warmth, a slight smile softening his otherwise intimidating face. The waiter poured water, and Emily tried to remind herself that this was just a pretense, that she was here because of her sister's absence. But as Alexander asked her about herself, Emily found herself speaking more than she intended. She talked about working 2 part-time jobs, about her love for books, about the struggles of paying rent. He listened intently, surprised. Most people he met on dates bragged about vacations and luxury, but she spoke with honesty, even vulnerability. When she realized she had said too much, Emily flushed and apologized, trying to excuse herself. "I think you were meant to meet someone else," she confessed, lowering her gaze. Alexander studied her, intrigued. He asked calmly, "So you weren't supposed to be here?" She nodded, embarrassed, expecting him to be angry or dismissive. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, his sharp eyes softening. "I don't mind," he said. "In fact, I'd like you to stay." His voice carried a quiet command, one that made Emily freeze. Something about the certainty in his tone told her this man was not going to let her leave so easily. Alexander, known for his decisiveness, felt an unusual pull toward Emily. He didn't fully understand it, but her honesty and gentle spirit contrasted with the shallow encounters he had endured since becoming a wealthy CEO. Emily, on the other hand, wanted to stand up and leave to escape the growing tension. But every time she glanced at him, she saw sincerity in his gaze, not arrogance. The conversation stretched on longer than she planned, and slowly she relaxed. He asked questions no one else had cared to ask, and he listened as though every word mattered. The cafe around them faded, and the only world that seemed real was the one between them. Just as Emily prepared to excuse herself once more, a little boy ran into the cafe, his laughter soft but contagious. He had dark hair and bright eyes, a miniature reflection of Alexander. The boy ran straight into his father's arms, and Alexander scooped him up effortlessly. "This is Noah," he introduced. Emily's heart softened immediately. She greeted the child warmly, and to Alexander's surprise, Noah responded to her with comfort and affection, resting his small hand on her arm as if he had known her forever. It was in that moment that Alexander's decision solidified. He had tolerated many forced introductions and false pretenses, but this connection felt different. The woman who wasn't supposed to be there had reached his son's heart instantly. Emily, flustered, tried again to clarify. "I shouldn't even be here," she whispered. "My sister was supposed to meet you." Alexander shook his head, his tone firm but calm. "No," he said. "I believe it was supposed to be you all along." His words stunned her. As the evening stretched on, Alexander insisted on walking Emily home. She resisted at first, worried what her sister would think, but his persistence left no room for refusal. Along the walk, he asked about her dreams, her fears, and she found herself opening up again despite her determination not to. He shared glimpses of his own life. Raising Noah alone after losing his wife, struggling to balance love and duty, searching for something more meaningful than power and success. Emily listened, and in his honesty, she saw not just a CEO, but a man carrying heavy burdens. By the time they reached her small apartment, the night air was cool and the city lights shimmered above. She tried one last time to insist this was a mistake. "You deserve someone who belongs in your world," she said softly. Alexander met her gaze with unwavering certainty. "Maybe I don't want someone from that world," he replied. "Maybe I want someone real." His words cut through her doubts, leaving her speechless. She realized this man wasn't trying to impress her. He was trying to understand her. Days turned into weeks, and Alexander continued to pursue Emily with patience and determination. He would visit her after work, sometimes bringing Noah along, sometimes simply walking with her through the park. Emily resisted, reminding herself of her sister and of their very different worlds. But slowly, she could no longer deny the bond forming between them. Noah's attachment to her grew, and she found herself caring for him as if he were her own. When her sister eventually learned the truth, there was anger and tension. She accused Emily of stealing her chance, of overstepping. Emily felt crushed, but Alexander stood firm. He explained that he had no interest in superficial matches. "It wasn't her smile that won me," he said firmly. "It was the way Emily sees people, the way she saw me and my son." His defense silenced the room, and for the first time, Emily realized he truly meant every word. The bond between Alexander, Emily, and Noah only deepened from there. They became inseparable, sharing dinners, outings, and countless small moments. Emily's laughter filled the mansion, Noah's joy blossomed under her care, and even Alexander found himself smiling in ways he had forgotten. It was not wealth or status that built this connection. It was the quiet strength of love born in the unlikeliest of circumstances. The girl who had only been sent in her sister's place discovered that sometimes life's greatest blessings come disguised as mistakes. The single-dad CEO, who once believed his heart was closed, learned that love finds its way when least expected. And the little boy who once knew loss found a family's warmth again. This has been another story from Echo Tales, where voices rise, truth shines, and lessons echo far beyond the moment.